Hey everybody, welcome back to another review. Today we got the Ultimatum Season 2, Episode 1. I've been real excited for this show to come back. So let's get into it. We got the main couples are Antonio and Roxanne, where Antonio gave the ultimatum to Roxanne. We got Alex and Kat, where Kat gave the ultimatum to Alex. We got Trey and Raya, where Trey gave the ultimatum to Raya. We got Brian and Lisa, where Lisa gave the ultimatum to Brian. And we got James and Ryan, where Ryan gave the ultimatum to James. For Antonio and Roxanne, Antonio's 30, Roxanne is 31. They've been dating for 4 years. They believe, Antonio believes that this kind of pressure is needed to push Roxanne to marriage. And she wants someone who works really hard and is ambitious. Antonio is willing to walk away if she doesn't say yes. That's what he says. We'll see as time progresses if that's actually what happens. Lisa is 31 and Brian is 28. They've been together for 2 years and she's ready to get married. She doesn't believe that he has ever been in a position to lose her, and that this will be the fire he needs to, push him towards marriage. Brian just wants to make sure he can provide financially for their family, so that's the reason he gave for not being ready. Which, for men, that's a big thing sometimes, depending on who they are, where they want to be able to feel like they can be a provider for the family, and that can make them kind of hesitant depending on their career and financial situations. So that can be understandable. 2 years is not a terribly long amount of time, so we'll see how it goes. Ryan and James, they're high school sweethearts, so she's ready for marriage, and they've been together for over 7 years, and she thinks that after all this time that he should know by now if he's ready, and I would have to agree with her. That is a pretty long time. I know sometimes people are together for a while before it turns out, but we'll see how that goes. He doesn't believe in having a one true love, and he's been in school for 5.5 years and wants to be better financially. So I guess he's similar to Brian, where he's been in school all the time, so he hasn't had the time to start his career and get his journey going, so he doesn't feel solid financially, which is understandable for people who've been in school for a long period of time. And with them being 23 and Ryan being 24, they're still young, so they could still be getting out and trying to get settled and get situated together. For Trey and Raya, Trey is 28 and Raya is 24. They've been dating 2 years. He says he's ready financially and knows that it's a decision every day to love each other, and that's based off his parents, because his parents have been married for a while, and that's the experience that his grandparents, that's the experience they've been going through together. Raya hasn't seen a happy, healthy marriage and sees big bouquets of roses on social media. I think that's nice. And the reason that came up is because Trey did a big Valentine's Day gesture where he had rose petals everywhere and a big teddy bear and had lingerie on the bed. And then when Raya walked in and saw it, she was like, this isn't, how it is on social media. And basically, because it didn't look like the TikTok video, she was disappointed. And that made Trey very discouraged. And because of that, he hasn't really been romantic ever since. And Raya says that she has a lot to figure out. She doesn't know if she wants to get married, and maybe there is a soulmate out there worth getting married for. So that's always some kind of flag to me. I don't know if you want to call it a red flag, but the fact that James said he doesn't believe in one true love, and then Raya's saying maybe there's a soulmate out there. I mean, that makes me think that they're thinking that their partners might not be the right person for them, and that there may be someone else that is. So Roxanne's kind of like that too. So we got Kat, who's 27, and Alex, who's 31. They've been dating for 2 years. They describe themselves as a fun, adventure-loving couple. Alex says that they've been really busy, so that's why he hasn't proposed. Kat is scared that she's ready and he's not. Kat is sure because he's the love of her life. Her love is unconditional for him, and physical appearance doesn't matter for her as far as like getting old age and stuff like that. Um, and then Alex is saying that he's not ready. He said he's not ready because he's logical and practical, which I'm not sure what that really meant in that context. But he says it's difficult to express himself, and she asked him what it would take for him to get there to be ready for marriage, and he didn't respond at the time. And then the camera cut away to something else. So I don't know about that. He might not end up leaning towards that at the end. We'll see if something changes. And then we progress further in the episode after they're sitting all around talking, right? So everybody's back separate, and it's like the night before they're gonna become single again, and they're just showing some of their discussions. So the first thing is Raya and Trey are shown, and Raya feels like everything is about Trey and that he's not including her in the plans and decisions that he's making. She can't get him to plan dates, and she wants more romance. She says she doesn't need him to take care of her, and he says that he wants to do everything with her and work towards being married as one. So with that, the thing with that is she says that she can't get him to plan dates and wants more romance, but I think that's because of that grand gesture and that he shut down after that. So I think that because of that, he kind of stopped doing these things, and now she's trying to get him to do it. But maybe they didn't have a good discussion about, the expectations and her maybe apologizing for her reaction for that gesture and making him feel better and more comfortable with being able to do that and having her be happy, right? So I think they need to have some more conversations around that topic. She asked him if he'd be okay if he didn't have kids, and he couldn't answer, which is another red flag because they've only been dating for 2 years, so it's not like a long period of time. It is long enough to get engaged, but I feel like maybe they came on this show too early because it seems like their conversations about things that they should have been having that they haven't had, and those are like really important topics and can be make or break for some people. So I think that through this process or something, they need to get around to talking about that and making a decision on how they want to move forward before they get to the actual ultimate decision day. He said that he wants kids, but they haven't really talked about it, and he says he wants to just be with her basically. So we'll see if that's strong enough to overcome his desire for having kids. All the other stuff, he said that all the other stuff, like all other Raya's excuses or whatever, sounds like fear to him. So he's saying that she's just saying that she doesn't, like, she still has a lot of things she wants to do and all of that, and he's saying that that's just fear and that they could work on it together, basically. And he says that if she says she doesn't want them, then that's something he's gonna have to think about. So if Raya ends up deciding she doesn't want kids, it's something Trey said he's gonna have to think about. And I don't know why we haven't thought about this before we got to this point. It would have been ideal, but we'll see. Hopefully he thinks about it between now and the end, and we'll see how it goes. And then they go to Roxanne and Antonio. Roxanne feels like it's important for someone to understand her lifestyle of working. She seems to be talking about working a fair amount so far. And Antonio hasn't been romantic, but says that he can be. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe he'll start making more of an effort going forward. Lisa asked Brian why he's not ready, and he's like, he doesn't see that anything's going to change in their lives, but I think that's because they're already living together. So he's like, what's going to change if we get married? And she wants to be married before having kids, as an example. She says they're already operating like a married couple. And before it was finances for Brian as his reason for not doing it, but she says that he has a six-figure chick who's ready to buy a house, and she doesn't want to buy a house without being married. So she doesn't want to make that kind of commitment. So she's saying that he's worried about finances, but she already has the finances on track because she already makes some money, her own money. So she's like thinking that shouldn't be a worry for him. And he said he doesn't want to get married just to buy a house. So I think at that point he was just missing her point of the conversation. That was just an example she was using. That wasn't the only reason to get married. She feels like his timeline is so far out that she'll be 40 by the time he's ready to do everything. And she doesn't want to waste her time, but because of her age, and she's said that she's proven over the years that she can be the woman he needs, and she wants him to prove that he's ride or die for her. She says that if he doesn't marry her, she'll walk away. So then it shows Lisa and Brian are arguing at 1:22 in the morning. She's just crying, saying that she wants to go home. He's trying to comfort her, and then later at 8:17 in the morning, he tells her that she needs to work. So they're having a discussion on the couch, and he tells her that she needs to work on her reaction to things. And she says that she doesn't get that upset, and when she does that, it's an appropriate level. And I don't think we all agree with that. She feels like she can handle it, and that he wants her to think about it. He's just like, yeah, think about it. So we'll see how that transpires later on. Right, and then it goes to Ryan and James. James said he has his grandmother's ring and wants to get it reset. So he basically wants to take the stones out of it, get it set in a new band, add some other stones to it, blah, blah, blah. So he already kinda has a ring ready, but hasn't really done anything else about it. And Ryan just says that she doesn't care about the ring, she just wants the commitment from him. So, and then it goes to the dating section that starts around the pool where they're interviewing Raya, and she says that she practiced her flirting. So she like went on Google or something, looked up how to flirt, and did some stuff like that. They show James talking to Kat, and he says he's into sciences, and she says, "Wow, that's crazy." And it's just like you can tell she's not interested at the time. But her crazy fact about her is that she was double jointed, and after he said the science thing, he also said he was double jointed, and she kind of liked that. So that was cool. What else? We got Trey talking to Roxanne, and she says she values. So he asked her like, "What do you value most?" He was talking about in general, and her response was she values work number one. So she's talking about work again. She says she started her company 3 years ago. She also tells everyone she wants someone who's ambitious. She believes in there being a right person. So it's more alluding to maybe Antonio is not the right person, which is why she hasn't, tried to get married so far. Trey and Raya are talking. Raya wants romance. Brian said she was talking to Brian, and Brian said he was good with that. And then Raya says she believes in a soulmate, and maybe she just hasn't met the right person. Brian said she likes that Brian is open and that he likes to talk about his emotions, which is something that not a lot of men are comfortable doing. So that's like a positive trait for him. Let's see, James and Raya are talking, and they bond over the fact that they're both raised by single moms. James says he can't talk to Ryan about certain things, so he was happy that he and Ryan felt natural in their conversation. then they go to Trey and Ryan. They're both from South Carolina, and she felt that she needed the ultimatum for herself. Um, she wants to be able to come home to a husband, and they seem like they're on the same page about things in general. And then it goes to Lisa and Brian. He has the career, so Brian has the career and he's stable. And Raya wants her stuff together, but Lisa thinks that he has the looks, and Lisa feels like her issues can be worked on during the engagement, right? So she's saying like it doesn't matter if we have issues right now, right? Like they can just work on them during the engagement. You have to try to fix everything up front. So she's like, don't know, doesn't know why what the holdup is there. Then it goes to Kat and Antonio, where he's ready to do something meaningful and have a family, and Kat just wants to be heard and for him to listen and entertain it. And he said he's about open communication and about talking about any kind of topic, so nothing's like off limits with him. And then it goes to Alex and Roxanne. Her number one trait is a lack of ambition, and they bonded about work again because Alex used to own his own business and sold it, and she wants someone who understands the hustle and the grind. She says that maybe she's ready to get married, but it's just the person. So again, alluding to maybe Antonio is just not the right person. So then after all the dates are over, they're back in like maybe nightclub kind of setting, bar kind of setting, and Lisa asks about who had the best date, and Lisa said hers was Antonio. Ryan said it was Trey, and Raya says that her and Brian had more in common. Lisa and Brian go off to the side and they start talking. She says she's feeling like it shouldn't be this hard, and it shouldn't take this much for them to get to where they need to be, which is be married. She says she can't stand the process of Brian being with someone else, and she's questioning their relationship and starts crying. She says she thinks she made a mistake giving the ultimatum, and he's having to convince her to stay. So she gave the ultimatum to bring him here, and now that she's here and she knows everything, the rules and everything that's going on in the process, she's like can't handle it, and she just wants to leave, and he's trying to get her to stay and go through it all because he thinks it's going to make them better at the end. And then Alex said he will plan a date around Roxanne when they're talking. So that was something like he kind of promised to do, kind of thing. And goes back to the thing of Antonio needs to be more romantic with Roxanne and plan more dates and things. And I think he hasn't done it just because of how much she works, and he feels like maybe he can't find the time to get her to go on a date or anything. So, and then Brian and Raya starts talking. She says she's open to dating, and she says that she's calm and just wants to like watch movies and cuddle together and have like candles because she's all about the smells. And Brian said he would cuddle with Raya. Then Lisa comes over to intrude on the conversation. She calls her a Hooters worker in a derogatory way, and she wants to know if she's liking Brian, and that says that Raya doesn't love the person she came with. And then Raya excuses herself, which I thought was a good thing to do, is get out of the situation before it turns too negative. And Lisa says she didn't care about interrupting their conversation. Brian thinks that Lisa just needs to have trust in their relationship, and Lisa walks off, and she calls Raya a roach, which is also not a good thing to do. And then she mushed Brian in the face, and then she walked out, and everyone was just stunned. and we were like, what just happened? So yeah, I really hope that they address the domestic violence, because if Brian would have did that to Lisa, everyone would have been bad, and would have been uproar, all of that kind of stuff. So I hope that we address this and take care of it. But that's basically where this episode ended. I think I like the fact that the couples are mostly on the older side, not too young, so they're in that phase where they're thinking about getting married and have their careers potentially worked out, been working for a little while. Some of the couples have only been dating for 2 years, which sometimes is not long enough, only because people don't take the time to have the conversations that other people would have before getting married. So I'm only a little worried about that, but overall I've been enjoying it so far, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.